Hello everybody, welcome on in today to My Sweet Home Living. My name is Tracy Campbell. So excited you are here today again for another fun fall primitive craft, which actually it's not typically just for fall, today's project. However, you can definitely use it in your fall decor, but you can use it all year long. So and it's by popular request. I have had so many so many of you asking, how did you make that? How, just show me how. I want to know how you did it. And so I kind of hesitated at first to kind of redo this project because it's something so simple and so easy. It's kind of one of those things I thought, well, it's so simple. I mean, people are going to be bored with it, right? But sometimes the simplest of ideas are the best of ideas. So we're giving it a go today. So what you'll need: baby food jars, old jelly jars, anything like that is what we're going to use today. Something smaller. We're going to be making, I'll show you, and while we're waiting for some of our friends to hop on, I'll also be showing you what we created yesterday. If you missed the live yesterday, we made the little grungy nightlight jar, which I have tucked in my little bowl here along with a few other things. Which, do you see that little centerpiece right there? That little jelly jar. That's what we're making today. You all have been asking for it and asking for it. So I said, okay, simple or not, we're making it today. I'm going to take you from the beginning to the end and show you exactly how it's made. You won't believe how easy it is. Really, it's almost so simple. You'll be like, why didn't I think of that before now? But you know, sometimes the simplest of ideas are the best of ideas. Thank you, Miss Barb, for sprinkling us out. Thank you. Hello, Miss Mara. So for our new friends, if you're here today, let me know. My name is Tracy Campbell, and you are here on my page or watching perhaps on the replay on YouTube or somewhere. My page is called My Sweet Home Living. I'm so excited that you're here. I love all things vintage, rustic, natural, primitive. Those are all my jam. So hop on in here. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I like to see where you all are from all across the world. We have lots of new friends that have been joining us recently, so that's exciting as well. We have a wonderful, amazing community here. And while I'm thinking about it, we are in a live segment, a 45-minute segment over, also broadcasting into the Craft on the Clock group on Facebook. If you don't know about the Craft on the Clock group on Facebook, leave a comment down and below, and I will give you the information where you could find it, because we have amazing creators. Actually, we have a team of over 120 creators that go live. We have live crafting from early morning till late at night every week, Monday through Friday. And then on the weekends, we kind of have a little bit more laid back. We don't go by schedule. We just kind of share content as it's there and available. But Monday through Friday is the place to be. If you love crafting and creating and getting ideas, you'll want to check us out. Okay? All right. So this was another version of our little grungy jelly, or not jelly jar. This was our grungy nightlight jar. But I did not put lights in this one. So let me tell you, yesterday, if you missed it, we made these little grungy nightlight jars. And I was telling you about the rice lights that I've been finding. And then they're also called teeny lights. But whatever lights you get, you need to make sure that they are a very small strand, like a strand of 10 or 15. And sometimes those are hard to find, but if you search specifically for those, you will find them. And they do put off a little bit of warmth. And yesterday, I decided to put the lid on my jar, but I could not do that because the strand of lights that I had available to use are a little bit longer. They're too long, so they put off a little bit too much heat. And keeping the lid on underneath our cheesecloth here was kind of making the jar too warm, and I didn't want to overheat and cause a problem. So take it from me, leave the jar lid off, okay? The cheesecloth allows air to circulate, right? And then definitely go with like a strand of 10 or 15 of the teeny lights. You could also do the twinkle lights as well, but you want something that doesn't put off a lot of heat, okay? These are my new favorite, you guys. I mean, I can smell the Sweet Annie from right here. If you missed this, you missed a good one. And this was yesterday. It's back on my page. If you want to catch the replay, it is there for you to do so. All right, so we're using jars again today. So if you have used, I don't know, baby food jars or jelly jars, I'm going to give you a few ideas of what I have, and then I'll show you what I'm actually using today. So I mean, we all probably know this is like the super recognizable jelly jar, jam jar, preserves, whatever. But this is just an old Smucker's jar that I did not throw away. You could use this and just make these in different sizes. Baby food jars obviously could be a little shorter. They do make some taller ones as well. This one, actually, I've already kind of put it through the dishwasher. I need to kind of grub off that label still there. But this is like a dried beef. Dried beef jar, and it's kind of short and petite. I love interesting little jars, and you can do all kinds of things with them. Yesterday we used that grubby jar was a jar of jalapenos. This was a jalapeno jar, a Maseretti, I think that's the brand name, jar that we used. And then I think this one was an Alfredo sauce jar, spaghetti sauce jar. It's a little bit different. Oh, this is the Alfredo sauce jar. They're just different sizes, are just perfect for different little cubbies in your home. But the one that I have kind of fallen in love with recently, which is the one that I use to create this little jelly jar, and I'll give you more of a close-up view of this here in just a little bit, are these little yogurts. Have you guys seen these? If you have kids, grandkids, or even if you love yogurt, you need to find these. These are so cute. These actually are glass jars. It has like a attached foil lid, but you can even buy, not that, you don't have to, but they even offer online where you can go and purchase the lids that will actually fit these, like if you want to use these for storage. So these are just darling. They're kind of a mix between a baby food jar and like a jelly jar. It's a little bit bigger than a baby food jar, but this is Yoplait. I think it's called Wee yogurt. And you can find those at most grocery stores, okay? But I love them, and anything you can kind of keep and reuse, hey, do it. So I've got several that I have already washed and ready to go today. And really, like I said, this project is going to be so simple, it's going to kind of blow your mind, honestly. What we used, for the first time I made these, were used tea bags. Used tea bags. Can you believe that? You saved them, Michelle? That's awesome. They're so perfect for little things. I actually use them a lot of times to put my paintbrushes in and let them soak a little bit. They're just, just short and petite, and I don't know. It's just easy to wash too because they're glass. They're pretty durable, by the way, too. But like plastic, sometimes things stain my plastic cups. If I put paint or anything in there, sometimes if I let it sit too long, it'll stain my plastic cups. But anyway, I have some used tea bags, and I've kind of already pulled them apart. Let me tilt my camera down just a tiny bit because I want to make sure that you guys can see. Hey, Miss Rhonda, how are you? So we have some used tea bags. I've already kind of peeled mine apart. Mine are just Great Value brand. And I've, of course, made a fresh batch of sweet tea this morning. So you're going to just carefully take this little tag off. Now, I know all tea bags are kind of made a little bit different. Let me grab my scissors real quick. Obviously, not all tea bags are made exactly the same, but I need to cut this little string off because I don't want to tear the little paper. And if it tears, it's okay. It's okay, but you want to try to avoid it if you can. And this one kind of unfolds like this, and then it has a little perforated edge that goes right down the center of my tea bag. See that? And so I'm just going to kind of unpeel that. Now you got to be kind of careful. I mean, it is kind of delicate, yet it's still a little bit durable, if that makes any sense, or else we would have tea grounds all in our tea, right? So they are a little bit sturdier than you would imagine. So you can just peel that apart. Now, obviously, if you don't want to use tea bags, if you have some real pretty vintagey looking tissue paper, you could totally do that. You could also use napkin plies. I know a lot of people like to pull apart the plies of napkins, and you always have like that blank layer of napkin, and we say never throw anything away. Well, you can use that too. It's all about using what you have. But what inspired this project is a couple weeks ago we had a grocery trash to treasure theme week over in the Craft on the Clock group. So it was all about using things that you would typically throw away, things that you've purchased at the grocery store that you would throw away and kind of repurpose them. And so that's kind of what inspired this little project, which using the tea bags is how I started it. But you definitely don't have to use tea bags. You can use other items as well. So you'll want to kind of let these dry. Now I'm going to pull out my heat tool because obviously I forgot my heat tool. I kept saying, don't forget my heat tool. Don't forget the heat tool. Guess what I forgot? The heat tool. So all it's going to take is just a couple of seconds to dry those tea bags because they are so thin. So that's the good thing about it. And then what you'll need, you can leave some of the grounds on there. You can take them off. Okay. Now as it dries, a lot of it's going to kind of flake off. Now the great thing about them being used tea bags, obviously, is that they already have that tea coloring or that tea stain look to them. So you don't have to do a lot of, rusticking, vintaging it up because that tea has already kind of done the job for you. So I'm going to let these dry for a little bit. And then the other thing that you'll want to pull out of some sort, if you're going this method, you'll want some stamps. And I just have some basic vintagey stamp themed designs that I'm going to use. Nothing fancy. You want a smaller design of a stamp because the smaller your object, the smaller stamp design you want so that you can see the imaging. And if I had like a third hand here, let me see. I got an idea. I have this coffee cup that I had these tea bags sitting in while I was waiting. I'm going to let that sit right there and dry. I'm going to drape this one right there and I can free up a hand and show you. So let me kind of disassemble this one for a second and show you. It just has a simple little tie, a fabric tie at the top. So the stamping that I have on this jar, now my lights are going to glare off of it, but you see it's like handwriting, looks like vintage lettering. There's a little stamp. Let's see. It just keeps scrolls around and it's something of interest. And you see the wrinkles. That's also the goodness about it too, is it has those vintagey looking wrinkles to it. And you can see the tea coloring to it. Now, I could have taken a little bit of my distressed oxide and grunged it up a little bit. I don't think I did that. I think this is all straight up just the tea coloring. So what you'll need is a little bit of Mod Podge. And I'm probably going to kind of go ahead and speed this through because these really are halfway dry and they won't take a whole lot more, but I don't think it's going to mess it up too bad if I kind of speed it along too. What I am going to do is put, I'm going to rake these little tea grounds off so I can speed this up for you guys because we don't want to stay here and watch paper dry. But we'll take off those excess grounds. Now, if you like that on there, you could totally leave it on there and you would get more of that sort of that grubby look like we did yesterday on our jars that we made. All right, so this one, I'm good with that right there. There's still a little bit, but most of that will come off when I wipe the Mod Podge on there. Okay, let's clean this one off. I just have a paper plate here and then underneath to catch these tea grounds. But you could definitely use tissue paper. You could use, like I said, napkin plies and do the same thing. We have 170 watchers. Hey, Miss Carol. Hello, Miss Mara. How are you? I see Miss Jennifer from Home Sweet Create. Hello, sweet friend. I'm so glad y'all are on here today. Thank you so much. Happy Friday to you, by the way, if you're watching this on the day that we're live anyway. It's a beautiful day. It's been a beautiful last few days here in Kentucky. The weather, the humidity is gone away for a little bit, and it's been really breezy and just comfortable. I wouldn't say cool, but it's been more comfortable without that humidity here. Thank you, Miss Pat, for sprinkling us out. We've got lots of creators on here today. Thank you all so much for showing up. Newbie Miss Linda from Houston, Texas, welcome. Longview, Texas, Miss Dina, welcome. Hey, Miss Terry, how are you, sweet friend? Listen up, guys. I know I've seen lots of Texas comments. we've got a big creators meetup next spring in Texas. So you all stay tuned. I'll be sharing more information about that in the next few months. It's going to be so much fun. We're so excited. We're going to be hitting up Waco, all things Joanna and Chip Gaines. And then we're also going to be going to Canton Trade Days. And we'll be having some meetups to meet you guys. And I can't wait. I can't wait. We have lots of creators that are going to be joining us. Lots of them. Okay, so what we have. You know what I forgot, but I'll manage. I'm just going to use like a sheet of paper. I should have brought my little stamping plate over here, but that's okay. We can work it out. All right, so let me pull my stamps out. I do have, I'm going to use plain just black ink. You want to make sure that you use a permanent ink. You could get away with using the distressed ink pads. They're not permanent, but if you seal it, you'll be fine. So just use what you have. You just might have to manage some things a little bit differently. So I just have some stamps. I couldn't tell you what brand these are. I couldn't tell you. All I know is I've had them for a long time, and they were going to work perfect. So if you have some stamps, or if you don't have stamps, you could even use some old newspaper. My mother, let me show you what she found a few weeks back, and she shared some with me, and I haven't used this yet, but look at this. This is some tissue paper. Look at this. How cool would that be? All kinds of little vintage ads and vintage graphics. I'm just waiting for the perfect project to use this on. I can't wait. So I've pulled out some stamps. Let's get our stamp pad. And my stamp pad, it's a mess, you guys. My stamp pad, I re-inked it a while back. And being the newbie with inking ink pads, I overfilled it. So I'm putting these on because I do not want to get black ink on my hands. Fair warning, just buy a black ink pad. Don't worry about re-inking it. Take it from my advice. That paper is awesome, Mary. I think so too. Hello, Miss Belinda. Thank you, Miss Pat from Unique, for welcoming so many of our new friends. I appreciate you all helping out so much. We have the best group of friends here. I'm telling you guys, not just here on my page, but in the Craft on the Clock group. We're just so blessed. We're so blessed. Miss Sonia must be on here. Hello, Miss Sonia. All right, so here is my here's my work plate here. You like how fancy this is? So I've opened my little permanent ink pad. This is just a plain black permanent ink. Now I'm going to go ahead and stamp my papers, and then we're going to Mod Podge our jars. So I'm just going to I'm not doing this anything fancy, you guys. I'm not a pro stamper. Not a pro stamper. I just want something on here that looks vintage, and you know that anything vintage and rustic, you can get away with things that don't look perfect. Gives it more character. So that's my story. And I'm sticking to it. So I love things that look worn, tattered, roughed up and aged. You know how it goes, right? So I'm just placing one of these stamps right now. I'm just using the same one over and over a couple of times. And I do want some of my stamping to kind of hang over the edge. To me, I think it gives it more of a realistic look. Okay. So this is really simple so far, right? We're just stamping. I've stamped one down here, one up here. Just some basic repeating patterns here. Doesn't have to be exact. It's whatever looks good to you. But I like this vintage type typography. That's the word I'm looking for. These vintage looking fonts. Oh, thank you, Miss Linda. Oh, I see. I missed a comment. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you, Miss Pat. You're gonna make my eyes leak on here. We can't do that. I love you, friends. Okay. All right, I'm going to do one more of this one, and then we'll do another design here in just a minute. I love this one. Just reminds me of old like newspaper print, which is kind of the look that I'm going for. All right, and I'll show you. It's hard to see what these stamps, the design of these stamps look like when they're clear, but once I put them on here, I think you'll get a better idea of what they look like. And I'm going in random stampings, you guys. Good if it's kind of faded looking. I don't want it to look like a perfectly new print, right? So, like I said, you can mess up on this and no one will know. I love these. Okay, one more and then I'll do a close-up view for you guys. Close-up view so you can see what we got going on. I think I have this one upside down. Let's see. I love that little circle stamp. That little postage stamp look. Love that. I love this. Okay. And then one more up here. Yes. Yes, I love it. Okay, hang on. One more right here. Just keep going until it looks good to you guys, okay? That's really the only thing to it. All right, so let me hold this up. And it's gonna look, isn't that cool? That is so cool. It already has the grungy, the vintage look to it because of the tea stain. Yes, yes. And no two are gonna be alike. Now let me kind of tap those tea grounds off. There's the other one. Yes, it's so good. All right, so I still have one tea bag over here. Let's see. I don't think I'll need it, but let me go ahead just real quick and just put a couple of on here. So we have something just in case we need a filler piece. I am placing my stamps. I will tell you, I am going all in the same direction. I'm not kind of crisscrossing or diagonal. I will say that is maybe one thing you kind of want to keep in mind when you do these, just so that it looks more realistic. Because I think it would be a little too busy if you kind of went lots of different directions, if you know what I mean. So keep it somewhat simple. You don't want it to overwhelm your eye. And really, this is going to be so subtle unless, you get right up to it and look at it up close. You're really not going to see it up close. But it's just enough just to, from a distance to kind of see it. Okay, let me close this troubled child of an ink pad up. And we'll take those gloves off. Let's set that over there so we don't make a mess. Okay, so now to the fun part. Well, actually, that was pretty fun. All right, paintbrush, just a little chippy brush, just something that you'll want to use for Mod Podge. Let's see, who am I missing here? Thank you, Miss Sandra. New watcher from Wisconsin. Welcome, Raquel. Okay, so all we're going to do at this point, I did not take I stopped my paper right underneath the little rim, right underneath the little lip there. You could do it either way, honestly, because you're going to kind of cover that top up, so it doesn't have to be perfect up there, honestly. We're going to cover that top up with a little bit of cheesecloth here in just a minute. You just want a good layer of Mod Podge around your jar. I'm probably going to work in little sections just so that it's a little bit easier to manage. All right, I'm not going to worry about the bottom a whole lot. That's kind of the way I left the bottom. I just kind of curved it around the bottom. I love the shape of these little jars. They're so cute. They've just got a cute little, delicate little shape. They kind of flare out at the bottom a little bit. All right. So I'm just going to place this on, and because the shape of this jar, excuse me, is a little bit curved, you're going to get wrinkles, but embrace them, and wrinkles are okay. Hey, Miss Francis. Oh my goodness. Well, Stephanie, you may have missed me telling how I came up with this. a couple of weeks ago, we had a theme week over in the Craft on the Clock group, and it was called Grocery Trash to Treasure. And so our challenge was to create something using something that we would normally throw away, from that you would purchase from the grocery store that you would use and throw away. So to reuse something, repurpose it, right? And so I don't honestly know how I got to the idea, other than, I love tea staining and coffee staining. And so I was already kind of thinking along those lines of something to do with coffee or tea. And I don't know, it just hit me to use these little tea bags. I was throwing away one day and it busted. And then I kind of looked at how it was assembled. And then I kept looking a little bit deeper at the paper, and I thought, wait a minute. And then I've also seen a lot of people use these tea bags for like junk journaling, that kind of thing. And so they're just, you can do a lot with them if you just take the time to peel them open and save the paper, You can use them for all kinds of things. Anything decoupage related. I mean, they're really a good mix texture-wise between a napkin ply and a piece of tissue paper, really. So it's just something that we overlook. And how many times do we look at things and think, I can do something with that? And then, of course, the jars, that was another grocery trash to treasure item in itself. Is I love saving jars, especially little jars that have like a unique shape to them. I love doing that. So it was just a perfect little combination of things, that just one thing that led to another. And so that's how it evolved. All right, so you can see I've got a little bit of wrinkling there, but I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I'm just going to kind of go over it a little bit with some Mod Podge and just kind of seal it a little bit. And really, I've never had too much of a problem with these kind of ripping, because normally you would kind of want to wait for that Mod Podge to kind of dry under before you, put another layer of Mod Podge on. Don't even have to worry about that. And I'm just going to trim off the extra along the bottom, and then just kind of press that down around the curve at the bottom. Okay, that's all there is to it. And then you want to let it dry. Easy peasy so far, right? I told you this guy was so easy. It's so easy, you wouldn't believe it. And now what I think would really be cute, and I keep forgetting to get some, but it's totally optional, is to get a little battery operated or a timer little tea light to put down in the jar. It would kind of light up your stamping, kind of let it show off a little bit, and it'll dry super quick because that paper is so thin. That's the other great thing about it. It's thin, but it's still durable. It's still workable. Which I think sometimes napkins can be a little too delicate. When you decoupage with napkins, sometimes you end up, ripping it or smudging it a little bit. Thank you, Miss Vicki. I hope you have a good Friday as well. Somebody was asking what paper. A used tea bag, you guys. A used tea bag. We unfolded it. It already is tea stained. We stamped it and made our own little design. Yeah, my ear is blowing. But that's what we're using. This was a project redo by popular request from Grocery Trash to Treasure Week. If you missed that little snippet earlier, I was talking about that. How we took something that we would typically throw away and repurpose it. That's what we used. What inspired this project anyway. All right, so I'm just going to take a little bit of my coffee stained cheesecloth, you guys. Just coffee stain a bunch of this, and you'll have it to pull out and use for little projects like this. The coffee grunge mix that I have pinned at the top of my page. I know you guys keep hearing me talk about it, but I use it for so many things. And that's what I've used to coffee stain this cheesecloth. Just stain a big batch of it, and you have it ready to go for whatever project you're doing. And I'm going to kind of double it up a little bit because my cheesecloth is pretty thin. I'm sure cheesecloth comes in different thicknesses, but I don't want to be able to see right through to the inside my jar. I kind of want it to be a little bit hidden. And then what I'm going to do, I have a little strip, I have a little stack of fabric strips. Well, I did. Where did it go? Where did it go? Hold on. It's right here. If not, I'll just reuse the one I already had. I must have tucked it in the wrong drawer. Okay, well, let's see what we can do here. We could use a red one. We can make a little red one. I just used ticking fabric, honestly. I don't know. It's just, it's primitive to me. I'm going to take a little snip on the edge along the line of the pattern, okay? And I'm just going to rip it. Okay. Easy peasy, right? And you got a good little strip. You already have some of that little worn, wrinkly fibers around it. So it gives you a cute little look without having to do a whole lot. And this ticking fabric has already been coffee stained as well. Yes, it has. And just tie it at the top. If you want to put a little sprig of this sweet Annie on it, you totally could. Let's grab some real quick. And I'll put a little sprig of that on there so you can see how that would look. I love this stuff, you guys. The smell is just so, I don't know how to explain it. It's just comforting. It reminds you of like an old farmhouse. I don't know. Put a little sprig of that right there. I'm going to turn this around and show you guys. As soon as I tie this, I'm not tying it in a bow. I just want a simple little knot. Something simple. That's kind of what primitive decorating kind of revolves around, is kind of simplicity. Traditional fabrics, traditional earth tone colors, just things that are natural and rustic. All right, so this is a slightly different little variation, and you could totally omit that and keep that out if you wanted to. You don't have to add that, and that's just optional. Just giving you an idea for how you can personalize it and make it your own. So let me put this one back together. This is the one that I had already created. And this one has a little navy blue ticking tie around it, which I kind of like to tie in navy blue because I have navy blue accents around in my dining room, kitchen, and living room. And so anytime I can get a chance to just add little subtle colors of blue, I typically do that. So that's what I have done with this little jar. So you can see how you can make different little versions of them. Aren't those so sweet? So sweet. And then, you know, we did the little grungy Nightlight jars yesterday, and we added the same little touch at the top, which this one, let me show you the one that has the lights on it, because I know we've had lots of people that hopped on since then. We added lights to this one. We have a glowing feature. We grubbed up this jar yesterday. It's a little nightlight jar. And so these kind of all coordinate. You all, I've been talking about all of these projects that we've been doing the last 2 weeks and how they all can kind of work together. You can mix and match and move them around and create new and different little vignettes all around your home using these same projects and get a totally different look using them. And all, of course, we've tying this cheesecloth everywhere. And then another little project that I did several years ago, and the video that I have on my page is so horrible. I'm too embarrassed to even share the link with you guys. To make these rag balls, I just used some styrofoam balls and used some strips of the fabric, just like you saw me pull apart a second ago, wrap them around a styrofoam ball, and these look like, you know, vintage rag balls. These were like a staple in like Southern ladies' homes, you know, ages ago. Just a soft little touch of that. Look how sweet, you know, these little combination of things together. Now, I found this on clearance, so I'm just going to put this real quick together and kind of show you. You could do something like this. I'm just trying to give you a little idea of like a little mini vignette that you could do. You know, guys, I love playing with little vignettes. Put a little pantry tart there. Let's see. I should have brought one of my little sifters over here. Oh, I know what we can use. We can use these little vintage cookie cutters, you guys. How cute is that? Just on a little mini little cutting board. Yes, yes, yes. So cute. So I like putting that little pantry tart on an angle and then just kind of tucking those in. I'll play around with this and make a cute little vignette. Probably will tie in one of our little grain sacks, our little feed sacks that we've been making. And you all know I've always got to tie in something else that has a little candle or some sort of little greenery right here. I like doing that too. So we could do something like this. This would be cute. All right. And then if you have a little tea light inside that little jelly jar, that would be perfect. So you could have like a little tray. And I wish I had something that I could pick this all up with and show you all at one time. I have to swipe your comments over. Let me swipe my comments over. So just a real simple little tuck. So if you don't have a large space, you could tuck this in the corner. If you have some open cabinetry that you need some kind of little something to kind of display, or this would even fit on a little wall shelf. Like if you have just a little display shelf on the wall, this could be narrow enough that you could kind of tuck this all in together and make a little cute little mini vignette on a shelf. So hopefully this has given you some ideas today to also keep hold of some of those jars. If you don't want to purchase some of the labels that I've been using from Etsy, you could make your own sort of labels using tea bags and stamps or vintage newspaper print, or if you find a real pretty napkin, or something. I mean, you could even cover this in cheesecloth. Honestly, you could Mod Podge some cheesecloth and then put a little, I'm trying to think, a little covering of fabric on that. We could do that real quick, honestly. I've got one more jar. Let's test it out. I've never Mod Podged cheesecloth before. I'm thinking it would be, well, my cheesecloth is a little bit thin. I would have to do several layers of my cheesecloth because it would show right through my jar. It wouldn't have much effect there, but if you did that, you would have to have a thicker jar. Now what you could also do is you could grubby up these jars like we grubbed up our jars yesterday with that instant coffee, cinnamon, and Mod Podge mixture that we made, and grubby up this little jar and cover it just like this one and have a little mini grubby nightlight jar. How cute would that be with a little tea light in it? These would be so cute if you did a mini version of these, putting them on tiered trays. Oh, that would be really cute. Or even making these, like if you're hosting like a Thanksgiving dinner for the family, make a few of these and set them around in a table centerpiece. Something real simple stated, just like a series of these would be really cute. Or you could even put these like as a little place setting, and then it could be like a little take-home gift for your guests. How cute would that be? Yeah, all kinds of little ideas that you can think of to go with these. So you could personalize them with some stamps even. So yeah, the sky's the limit. Just get your brain thinking and think outside of the box a little bit, and you can come up with all kinds of ideas, you guys. Listen, I will be live again on Sunday. Yes, Sunday. I never come live on the weekends. We're coming live on Sunday. I'm not sure about the time yet. I will post it here on my page and in my Facebook stories. You guys check out my stories. That's where I typically post information like that I know that you might want to see in a hurry. Always check out my stories section on Facebook. I'll post it there. It'll probably be around 2 o'clock if I had to guess. Around 1:30 or 2 o'clock Central on Sunday. I have no idea what we're going to get into. I do have some more air dry foam coming. Oh yes, more fake bakes in the works. And then I also purchased something else that I'm going to be using for something soon. A Dremel tool. Y'all know what a Dremel tool is. We're going to break out some power tools pretty soon. And next week is Down on the Farm week. I have a super cool project planned for next week. I believe I'm on Monday. Sometime on Monday. And I can't remember what time it is. But Monday, check it out. I'll post the schedule in my stories. But Monday, I've got a fun project I can't wait to show you. It's going to be tied in with some family heritage type things. It's going to be, of course, all vintage and rustic, so you won't want to miss that. It will include a find from the family farm. Can't wait to show you guys that. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We have live crafting for the rest of the day, all the way up until I think 10:45 tonight Central Time. Fridays, we're hangout place and Craft on the Clock. Get ready for the weekend. We have an amazing event coming tomorrow in the Craft on the Clock group. You'll want to check that out. The Craft Train event is coming all day long, and it will be co-hosted here in the Craft on the Clock group if you're watching us in the group. So check it out. Busy weekend. You will have a wonderful one, and I will see you on Sunday. Okay? Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.